And we're back.
Welcome back to Beyond the Signs podcast.
I'm your co-host, Omar M. Hamouda.
And I'm your fellow co-host, 𝐅𝐎𝐋𝐋𝐖.
And today we're going to actually be talking about, is a saturated market still a positive market to work with?
It's a really interesting topic.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain for anybody who doesn't know out there, what is a saturated market?
Absolutely. A saturated market is a market congested with so many different people in the same niche-based work that you're working in, or the environment that you're part of, or the market you're a part of.
There's a really good definition there.
Yeah. Wikipedia.
So today we're going to be talking about whether that's a positive thing and how to, I guess, find your way in a market like that.
Absolutely.
As a creator.
And I think I want to establish the actual answer now and then explain why.
Sure. What's your actual answer?
The actual answer is yes. I still think that a saturated market is a positive market to be in. The reason being is what we'll get to. But I want to hear your opinion as well.
So, funnily enough, as we find a lot of these episodes unfolding like this, I do see where you're coming from with that. But at the same time, I think back to when the market wasn't as saturated. I think back to when I was like 16 and Instagram was newer and the influencer didn't truly exist yet, as well as the Instagram photographer, the Instagram videographer. At the time, it wasn't a thing that everybody was jumping on. It was something that I had seen like one or two or three or four people specifically that made me want to do it as well, like on the internet. But it wasn't like I was being hit every single day with so many different people doing the same thing. And then I was like, oh, I want to do that. You know what I mean? So it really stemmed from not seeing a ton of it, just seeing like a little bit of it and being really intrigued by it. I feel like if I would have had the opportunity, if I wouldn't have been so young, if maybe I had been at the age that I'm at now, when that was the stage that at least the internet was in with it, I would have been able to do so much more. Because one, now that the market is so much more saturated, you'll find that the algorithm has caught up with that. And so on social media, at least, it is so much harder to grow and maintain your following, because the algorithm has changed so much, because everybody is a creator now. Everybody's a content creator. Everybody's a photographer, a videographer, an entrepreneur, an artist, a business owner, everything. That, like, it's so much more competitive that I feel like so many people's valuable work is being kind of like lost in the mix. And that's the only reason why I say like differ from your opinion and what you're saying. But go ahead and explain why you think.
So I'll explain.
Because I agree with both. Like I do see both sides, but I want to hear what you think.
Right now we're trying to see what we side with more.
Yeah.
And I side with the, yes, I love a saturated market for me, because I personally think that it's very easy to see, like, with a saturated market, you have so many different opportunities and so many different creators that you can go with, or even that, like, work that you can see, because, like, everyone has their photography, style. Everyone has
Preference.
their videography, like, style, right? Everyone has a way that they design websites. Everyone has a way that they create music. So for me, like, it's more or less like what resonates with, like, the type of style that you do and like what makes you different and stuff like that. And I feel like that shines more, and it's a lot easier for other people to actually respect the type of craft you do, because of the fact they see other people trying to do it. And one, they either see like it's crappy work, or the second thing is that they realize it's harder than a lot of people take it to be. It's not as easy as like pressing a button. And for me, like, when I first started, it wasn't as saturated as it is now. And like before I would get people telling me, oh, it's so easy. Now I'm getting people hitting me up and saying, no one can do what you can do.
That's yes.
And that's why I say it's very interesting when you see that, because it kind of like validates your existence in that market, you know? And you can like,
I get that. I feel like I get that validation in person, but over the internet, I don't. I feel like because the market is so saturated and the algorithm is so tailored to certain types of content and certain styles and certain things, certain factors within the content itself, that I don't know, I feel like a lot of people who deserve a platform and who deserve to have their work being seen and have such talented work are just not being recognized as much for it, because they're just getting lost in the mix of all these different people.
Oh no, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
But here's where the algorithm is interesting, and it depends on where you apply it to. For me, I don't apply it to social media. I've already accepted that social media is never going to play in the favors of those who are actually creative. But like what stands out more is that basically
a smart realization to come to.
Is basically how you market yourself, right? I don't care if a lot of people see me. I just care about the important people to see me, or the important like valued like clients who are going to come to me, right? Because at the end of the day, what's the actual goal of being seen? Is it just for the fame, the fortune? For me, it's just to be noticed in a respected group of people that have like-minded abilities like me.
Yes, so and to also obviously get jobs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And just have people coming to you and who respect your work and admire what you do and want to produce work with you and produce
absolutely
art.
And that's the interesting thing, is that you'll find those people regardless if like you're seen on like Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're like tweeting from, right? So like that's where like I noticed like it's more or less like what are you, because like here's the thing for me, like I've met clients online who DM'd me before. I have clients who have emailed me, and I've made clients literally by talking to someone at a coffee shop.
Yes. And we've talked about this before, but I've been with you while somebody has come up to you on the street and just been like, hey, do you do video? Will you do a video for me? Here's my card. Can you give me your card? Okay, cool. I've literally been there in person for that physical exchange of information on the street. Random guy comes up to us. We're shooting.
Right. It's because you do what's passionate to you. Right. And not like, here's the thing. You never know who could be your next client. Right. And I know this could be like going back to the topic of like how to get clients and stuff like that. But this is really
everything kind of bleeds into
together,
sure.
and that's the interesting part about like what we do, because all the topics have relevance to each other, but like when it comes to the saturated market is like, how do you stand out?
Exactly. And
that's the whole key to it.
That's the thing that everybody has, I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people have difficulty with, that I have difficulty with. How do you stand out?
I'm not going to say, oh, do this and you'll stand out.
Of course.
No, everyone has their comfortability.
Of course.
For me, it's talking to people, real life people in person. So, like, let's say, like, I'll explain.
Which is clearly working for you. So
here's one way I got a client. It was a local coffee shop 2 towns from where I am, and my sister works as a barista in one of those coffee shops. She... for some weird reason, the owner, they ended up having a conversation, and she ended up like saying like, oh, my brother's a photographer, videographer, and he does websites and all that stuff, right? She gave my sister her business card. Instead of me reaching out to her over the phone, I just went to the coffee shop. I'm like, hey, like, you helped my sister in the morning. You had a nice conversation. What is it that you actually need? Maybe there's a little bit more to it. And I realized that she needed a little bit more than just the take 2 pictures here, a video there, and make it look all grand. It was like I literally had a full-blown like website that I had to like design and develop for her and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
It's like you never know where your opportunities are, and like that's why like in the market that we're in, here's the other thing is that a lot of people are doing it. So a lot more businesses understand the value of it. So they need more people. Just because Joe Schmo has like 1,000 like or 2,000 or 100,000 followers and he's getting jobs every day doesn't mean that he can actually maintain all those clients at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why you go to other people as well. So for me, the saturated market is a good market to be in because it just means that there are more people who need like actual work to be done. Now, here's the issue with, and I'll play devil advocate to my own belief, where we fall short, and that's where like it really depends on, are you serious about the business?
I was literally just about to say that. I was just about to say the fact that, like, relating to what we're talking about, it's just it you can have as many followers as you want, like you said. You can have as big of a platform as possible, but it's all about what you decide to do with that platform. Because if you cannot handle that type of, you know, influence or follower count or whatever comes with it in terms of volume of people reaching out to you, jobs, whatever, if you can't make that into something bigger than just an Instagram following, if you can't like transfer it into your real life, and bring what, like, the goodness from that into your real life and have it benefit you in real life and have you be making it you money, like, or, you know, getting you opportunities or reaching a goal or whatever, it doesn't matter. What does it matter?
And I was actually, it's a good point that you brought up. I was actually going into another sort of thing where it's what I normally do is I allocate work to different people. And that's where, like, it's great that we're in a saturated market like this because I can literally grab like 20 different clients, but allocate 20 different people for that. And literally just, that's how I maintain them. Like I don't necessarily have to do the work, but I'm passing the work to someone else who I can maintain that relationship to that client, saying, hey, I'm not able to do this at the moment.
Through this person.
But let me pass you someone else.
Yes.
And they'll take care of you as well as I've taken care of you.
Right.
And then keep building that relationship.
Or even if you do take a project on of your own, you'll say, you know, I'm going to bring along somebody else, you know, that's going to be accompanying me and helping me with this project. They're going to elevate this experience, and you know, that in turn does the same thing. It has the same effect. You're building a relationship with the client through yourself, yes, but also being able to give other people opportunity and kind of pass that along. And I know that you've taken advantage of that every chance you get. You are constantly calling other people and saying, hey, you want to do this job? I have this, you know, this opportunity for you, like always. So
yeah. And it's a great position to be in too, because it just shows that, you know, that there's a lot of people looking for these certain talents. And this could be like another, like, I mean, like there's always a new topic that we can talk about, is like how to find these actual clients and consistency. It's literally about networking. Like if you know how to network properly, the opportunities are endless. And to be honest, like, although like I've taken myself off social media, I haven't taken myself off of LinkedIn. And there's
that's the only thing that you've kept, right? Throughout
and there's
all this?
a reason behind it, because LinkedIn is more of that. It's not necessarily a social media.
No, I wouldn't consider it a social media.
Although, like, they categorize it as social media.
I would consider it like a business platform, yeah?
It's more of a business platform.
Yeah. Because
you have companies who are on there looking for actual work, right? So if you're like, and here's
big
the
companies.
tip. Yeah, here's the biggest tip. Like, if you're trying to find work, put yourself on LinkedIn. Like, put your portfolio on there.
Totally.
You're able to literally describe who you are. So it's like your portfolio, instead of pictures, it literally shows like you writing out who you are, what type of validation. And the great part about LinkedIn is that, and I'm not saying like I'm an advocate for LinkedIn. It's not sponsored by LinkedIn, but if LinkedIn, you want to sponsor this, go right ahead. Other people could acknowledge that your skill set is here. Like, so I have a couple of people, like, because I've done architecture before, I have like maybe like 7 people who have acknowledged that, yeah, he's a good person to reach out for architecture. So it's like more of a validation and a review platform for your type of business as you as an individual rather than your business. You can have
That's
a business.
cool. I didn't know that people could leave their own sort of like review.
Well, it's not like an actual review, but it's like how many stars do you give them for this skill set?
Right.
And you give them the stars. So you actually have a review of like stars of how many.
So it's real people having a say in
exactly
in that.
Exactly.
And that goes back to the difference between talking about a saturated market in terms of social media and then talking about a saturated market in terms of real life.
Exactly.
Because they're two very different things.
They're two especially different things. But here's also the thing too, is that a lot of people, when they look at the social media like saturation of the market, it's globally, right? But like when you think of it in like actuality, in like your own practice, in the location that you're in, it's location based.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like, for example, you can see someone from LA.
Yes.
But if you're out in New York, I'm not going to fly someone from LA to do a job for me in New York.
Absolutely.
I'm going to find someone local who can do the job for me.
Absolutely.
At a much cheaper rate, because of the fact I don't have to compensate for travel, compensate for stay, compensate for food. All I got to do is food.
A whole nother section of this topic, though, is what happens if you don't live near a big city or in a big city. You know, when we're talking about how location matters. How do you stand out in a saturated market when your local surroundings are not on as booming of a scale? Like, I can drive an hour and 20 minutes and be in New York City. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, what about somebody who lives in Nebraska? You know?
Right. I mean, like, there's local business. I know a friend of mine who literally he just went to Hawaii as like for 3 months and made friends with the local farmers over there and literally stayed for free while doing content work for them.
That's amazing.
So like,
that's so amazing.
There's opportunities.
Yeah.
And just because you live in let's say a town or a city that's not as booming as like, let's say New York City, doesn't mean there's not work. That's like, there's no work there. There is work. It's just that you have to present a case. Usually the way I see it is like you're presenting a problem that they never saw was a problem, and you're presenting the solution that could be their solution.
Because of you.
Well, because of anyone.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. You provide them with you bring up the problem and then immediately provide them with the solution.
Absolutely. And that's like what I've learned in design school is you always try to solve a problem, even if you never thought the problem was a problem.
Right. Even if they didn't realize that there was any problem there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that being said,
I think we could talk about this for so long, in so many different ways and levels, but it's just such a deep and we always find topics to go off of here. Absolutely. So you'll see us talking about this a lot more in the future in different ways, but it's such an interesting concept that needs to be talked about more, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with this and they're constantly wondering, how do I stand out in an environment or an atmosphere or a market where everybody is trying to do exactly what I'm trying to do? How do you stand out?
Absolutely.
And, we hope you guys took something away from this episode on how we personally feel about it and work through that and persevere and keep thriving as creators.
Absolutely. And
regardless.
With that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching all of our social proofs right here, right? And if you want to subscribe to us, link down below, and hit the bell for notifications to know when we do post.
Hit that bell.
Let it ring. There we go. But with that being said, thank you for watching and have a pleasant evening.
See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.